This is Level Up Success Podcast with Neth and Truth.
Buenos dias, everybody. This is the Level Up
Success Podcast.
and welcome to another episode where we're going to bring more knowledge and power to our listener. So next, tell me, how we going to start this?
All right. Awesome, man. So like we have been previously talking about, we're all about leveling up to success, right? I've actually had a couple of people ask me what level up success means, right? And I just want to clarify. We trying to clarify the level up of the mind, success of the mind, all right? And I have somebody here who I believe emulate this mindset, and we just gonna hear out, and we're gonna learn, guys. Okay, so why don't you go and talk to us about yourself a little?
Sure. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. I love the whole premise of your podcast about redefining what success means. My name is Shakira. I'm from the Bronx, born and raised. I've been in education for over 8 years, and now taking a little bit of a switch in my career, still in education, but focusing on speech development and helping young kids with their with communication. So
That's nice. That's a follow-up question. Since you was a kid, was that your thing, or did you have other type of dreams?
oh no, this is like the complete opposite of what I envisioned for myself. Like I grew up, like I said, in the Bronx. My parents were immigrated from the Dominican Republic. So like my idea of success was make as much money as possible to help them out, because I didn't want their sacrifices to be in vain. So I remember being in high school and wanting to become a computer forensic analyst for the FBI because...
Oh, wow. That's nice, though. I mean, who wouldn't? Because there's not too many people in our community thinking that way. I know this, so wow.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I think for me, I read a book about this guy who used the computer to like lure people to their deaths. Kind of gruesome, but it kind of intrigued me to go into that route. And like thinking about the whole novelty of it, about, not a lot of women, not a lot of Latina women in the field. That was like my mindset. But did I love it? No.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. It makes sense because you get into a place where you just want to feel accomplished, and you go by that like emulating what your parents think is the best option for you. So I completely understand that. So what are you currently doing now?
So as I mentioned, I was in early childhood for 8 years. I actually finished teaching the last school year that passed, and I started graduate school. So I am in my first year in communication sciences and disorders program, getting my master's in that so that I could become a speech therapist at a school.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Wow. But it's incredible because, like I said before, there's a lot of people not thinking far ahead in the future. And people don't know how many part on the education, how many field do you think is available in the education system? Yeah, because every time we talk about the education system, we always talk about being a teacher.
Okay.
And not other people not going the other direction like you're doing right now. And it's good that you let other people know there's other field in the education environment. So
there's a lot in education. I mean, like you said, you can be a teacher. There are different grade levels that you can, become a teacher in. There are school counselors. There are parent coordinators. So you can support parents, families in the success of the whole child. You have speech and language therapists. You also have occupational therapists. So depending if a child has some sort of, delay or different ability, I don't like to say disability, but different ability, you would support them in how to do regular routines and day-to-day routines. There's a lot in schools that you can do. So
all right, awesome. So what you say you were teaching, what level do you teach?
So I began as a toddler teacher. After completing my undergraduate studies, I moved to Delaware, and I worked at a Latino-based community center where I started working with 2-year-olds.
Okay.
Which is like not really considered. I think it was hard for me at the time because I adopted this whole mentality that, you know, working with 2-year-olds is babysitting, but there is so much that goes into, you know, the young minds, and cognitively, like between the ages of 0 to 5, there is so much growth that a child can undergo in terms of language and literacy and math. So it was a learning curve, but that first year of teaching really showed me and it helped me to value early childhood teachers all over because it's such important work.
Yeah, because at such young age, I think they would start so early. Like when we grew up, I guess I know where I grew up. I always used to think that you start at 6 or 5, but now it's getting like younger and younger, right?
Yeah, I was surprised too to hear that. Like 2 years old, cause with me, I believe it was for me it was you could have preschool at 4 years old,
Yeah,
and then you could start kindergarten and when you're 5. So that's what I believe. I mean, I don't have kids, so so I don't know how the system has been developing, but wow, 2 years old. I mean, that's great. So what kind of things have you learned, like as far as like when why is it important, you think, to start teaching kids at age 2? Like, do you see anything specific that's important to develop from there?
Of course. So at that age, they're developing their social emotional skills. So like things that I feel like I see adults and I'm like, you should have gone to preschool. So like things like how to integrate in social situations, how to dialogue, how to, you know, work through conflict, how to handle their emotions, how to identify their emotions. So like a lot of what you do at that age is, okay, like talk about different feelings and trying to recognize that in your own body, because at that age, you don't have the language for it. And a lot of behavior problems that you see as kids get older is because they don't know how to handle and manage those emotions. So as teachers, like that's the whole premise for me, is being able to give them the social emotional tools so that they can be successful in later grades.
so you do feel the same advantage in starting the school at a younger age?
Oh, definitely.
Oh, wow.
2 years old. I mean, they do start talking at 1, right?
Yeah.
Right? Or before that.
I mean, single words, they start learning words. So
It depends on the child. Like every child
Yeah.
is different. Like some kids begin saying their first words like even before 1. But you know, in a early childhood classroom, you foster literacy, but you also like try to keep in mind where every child is at. And if a child is saying single words, you're not going to force them, you know, to know the whole alphabet. Like, and I'm a big believer in in the fact that kids can learn through play.
Yeah.
So songs, and, you know, they can learn their colors and the alphabet through, you know, movements and just like integrating different parts of different ways of expressing themselves and different ways of engaging with the world, whether like a child, you know, likes music or likes, you know, to touch things. They're more sensory oriented, or you know, they're more visual. So it's about getting to know the child, meeting them where they're at. But I think for me, like, it's not so much about like math or science or literacy so much, even though literacy is important. It's about, for me, fostering social emotional skills and just letting them know that who they are is enough, especially like working with, you know, Black and brown kids of backgrounds like our own, that, you know, that their identity is valuable, that who they are is important and beautiful, and giving them opportunities in books, in songs, in experiences to like see themselves and see their worth. Like that's like important for me.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're sinking, because that was my next question was actually going to be what keeps like, how do you keep your students engaged and motivated to go about their days? And basically that answered that. So that's pretty awesome. Now, do you think students like because you have how many? You said how many years is it?
8 years.
8 years. Okay, that you have been working. Do you see a difference now in how the students behave before versus now with COVID-19?
I mean, definitely a lot. I feel that I have a lot of educator like friends that are still teaching in elementary schools and middle schools and high schools, and there is a lot of regression in terms of academics. A lot of kids not being able to focus in class as much. A lot of them that have lost, basic, literacy, writing, reading skills because, at home, it's difficult to engage with a computer and,
I mean, it is difficult because I travel back and forth from New York to PA. And when I help my nephew do his homework through the computer, that guy, it's hard because he's 9, but he lose focus real quick.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, it must be real hard for the teacher because teaching children, it's hard for me teaching my nephew, one kid.
Yeah.
Imagine teaching like a class at 9 or 12. It is difficult. So that was a difficult job for the teacher. I know I'm pretty sure a lot of people got behind because it's hard to focus on just one kid. And what you gotta do
No, and it's crazy because I hear what you're saying, like truth about how you're trying to teach, your nephew.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of parents that they don't want to teach.
Oh yeah.
They throw them to the babysitter, right? and that's the mindset that the parents have, which, I think is something that, like parents should really value, like where they leaving their kids with a teacher. So yeah, no, definitely.
No, I do believe that some parents just think that everything should be teach by the teacher. I believe there's parents that don't help out the kids. They think it's just the teacher's responsibility.
Yeah.
And that's not true. They're supposed to be also help with the homework. Also help on making sure that he's on top. His book bag is in order and all that stuff. So I know it's hard for a teacher. That's why I feel like they're supposed to be paying top dollars right now. Because especially kids at that age, it's not. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is it more harder to teach at a younger age, or at a certain age that it might be more difficult?
It depends on who you are. I know for me, I could never teach high school. I always told myself I would never be able to teach middle school. I think my niche is in early childhood, but then I know some people that, they can't talk to a young child and they feel that they can have more grown-up conversations with older kids.
So it depends on, it makes sense. I mean, some people find it more comfortable talking with, I guess, teenagers. Some of them talking with younger kids. And I mean, like I said before, it's a big field. You could work with real young toddler, 8, 9 teenagers. So, wow.
What's the approach now? I mean, I know that you have like a year, right, without. But what's the approach that teachers are taking now to like better teach these kids? Like I understand that it's difficult, but we do have to adjust to our situations.
Yeah.
So like can you elaborate in that? Like how do you guys approach?
So you mean as a result of COVID-19?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So again, I have a friend who is a school counselor at a school, and she engages a lot with the teachers in the school that she works at, and a lot of the the families, the teachers are trying to really build relationships with the families of the kids that they work with, because every family circumstance is different. Some families lost jobs, lost loved ones, and even if they want to help their child, one, they don't know how, and two, I feel like the system kind of keeps us from thinking about our own liberation. So lots of families have 2, 3, jobs and don't have time to focus. So a lot of the teachers from the school that my friend is working at, she tells me that they're, trying to find ways to work with the families and the routines that they have and the time that they do have to try to help supplement some of the things that they're learning in the classroom.
Okay, cool. So I know that I mean, your job is to teach students, right? On basically, well, on learning how to talk ABCs. Like. My question is, do you learn from your students?
Oh, 100%. I feel like they have taught me more than I could ever teach them. I have always said that. And especially when you think about your little kids, they always choose joy, and everything is there's so much wonder in like the littlest things. So like even if it's like a pencil that you pick up, you can act the most surprised at the most mundane, thing, and they will like light up with joy and think that it's like this magical pencil that has these magical powers. So like they've definitely taught me.
Yeah, have a good imagination. That's I mean, understandable. Like, I start playing imagination game with my little one. So when he was like 5 or 6, so he's getting older. He think he's older since he's 10 now. So, but yeah, you learn for kids. It's true.
Yeah.
Nah, and it's crazy because like we're basically at our most powerful when we're toddlers at that age, because it's like people forget that to accomplish what you want in life, you have to have an imagination.
You
first.
do. You really do.
Right? And when you're growing up, right? Like you're being told that not to imagine. Like there's strict rules that you gotta abide by. So, like it's like I really feel like you guys have a very important job. Very important, man. As far as yeah, no, it's tough, man. I don't see myself being a teacher like at all, man.
No, I mean,
it's hard, man. Yeah,
it's like I was telling you, I was teaching my nephew, I was helping him with his homework from the computer. I was kind of stressing out, so I started thinking for the poor teacher, like I tell you before, they kind of deal with 10 students or more. Like, what was the most that you teach online?
The most that I taught online.
Yeah.
So I ended up teaching online from March of 2020. So when the pandemic first started, through that entire summer. So like about 6 months or so.
It's tough. Like, like with one kid it's tough, but when you have a bunch, like yeah.
Yo, like I think a lot of parents got a wake up call, man. I mean, I don't think. I know they got a wake up call, like, because I when I work with in a cell phone business, so like, I have customers come in all the time, and they be like during COVID. When they were home, they would come and bring the stress to me, like oh, now I gotta deal with this kid, man, like like damn, I didn't know my kid was so troubled. Like, man, I gotta deal with him after school. I mean, well, during school and now after school, like. And hey man, I commend you guys.
No, I'm pretty sure parents appreciate teacher right now.
Yeah.
More since COVID, I'm pretty sure they appreciate more because
they definitely do. So my question now would be what is the greatest challenge for teachers today, you believe?
Greatest challenge. I think that I would say, like, as you go up, after you leave the early childhood world, unfortunately, we have high stakes testing. Lots of exams that the kids have to take starting at like age 3 through middle school, through high school. And so I feel that the biggest challenge for teachers is not just teaching to the test, and like teaching kids, things that bring them joy. Because a lot of teachers are just teaching things that, a child will need to pass the test and that's it. But like, it doesn't really show that they understand or know that concept, or they teach things in ways that, like, okay, they are able to answer a multiple choice question, but like, can they apply this knowledge to the real world, after they leave school? Can these skills transfer outside of the school setting? Okay. So I would feel that is one of the biggest challenges.
Do you feel that teachers get paid enough?
Oh.
I know the answer. Don't worry. I know the answer.
100% no. 100% no.
So, like, I had an idea that like occurred to me. I mean, it did occur in a sad time. It was in the passing of Felix.
Yeah.
So, what happened was, when we was in the funeral, I saw that his teacher from high school. She went and like she spoke about Felix, and I'm like, oh my God, like a teacher from high school. Like, like he's 30 years old, so it was like about 15 years before, like
Yeah, like 14 years maybe.
yeah, So it got me thinking, this just processed in my head. I'm like, yo, like teachers they should definitely get paid more, but we understand that, look, the government's not gonna help with paying you guys more. Like, we could try to fight it off, but I don't see it happening, right? So what I believe, like, this is a thought that I just had in my head, where we got to take matters into our own hands. So if, let's say, for instance, I know you taught preschool, you could teach preschool for about, let's say, 4 years, right? I believe, in this case, I believe it will be the parents in this case. I believe that the parents should at least give at least 1% of their yearly salary. 1% is nothing. Matter of fact, no, if it's 4 years, 4% of their yearly salary. It's not much, but it's something, and it makes you feel more appreciated.
It's gonna be like a parent mad at you right now.
That's radical.
Yeah, no, because the thing is that, like we keep blaming the system, and we don't take matters into our own hands. And it's something that it does bother me. We were talking about it before.
The thing that does bother me, that I know there's parents that do not help the children. They expect the teacher to do everything. That part, it does bother me.
Yeah. So and I'm saying in this case, when it comes to preschool, because kids they're not really gonna remember, right? Like, for the most part.
Yeah.
And my real idea, because like I said, rest in peace to Felix, but like, it was a high school teacher. So, like, for instance, for us, right? Like, let's say us that we in high school, we pick out the teacher that really helped us, right? We choose the teacher that really helped us, and we be like, you know what? This person deserves. Like, I did 4 years with this teacher. Let me take my year's salary, give him 4%. That's what I was thinking. Like, as far as students go. Now, if it's one, it's not that much, right? Like, let's say you earn like 60K. What's my math isn't the best one. So let me.
It don't matter. 1% is too many for some parents, though.
Yeah.
No, I know. No, that I understand, but it goes to, like, if we change the mindset of that, it could be done. It's just a mindset thing. We have to appreciate our teachers, because this is what it does. It's not even about the students. It's more or less about the teachers. Imagine if they getting some extra money from students that they taught, let's say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, and it becomes a system. What happens? Teachers are going to be more motivated to want to teach, right? And like, you never know which student you taught. It could be a multi-billionaire. It could be a Jeff Bezos. You know what I mean? Imagine he gives out 4%.
Yeah.
So it was just a thought that I had, and like, I'm not saying that it's gonna happen, but like, if somebody's listening, and we could manifest this thought that I have, it'll be awesome.
I mean, like I said before, I don't know if there's a bright side to the it's going to sound strange. The only bright side that I see to the COVID, but during the pandemic, is that a lot of parents started to appreciate the teacher. Because I know there's parents out there that think that the teacher's supposed to do everything.
Yeah.
And they also complain about the teacher. And they try to, I don't know, some parents don't have no idea. And so I think the pandemic did help. Teacher, just for at least on the parent side, because like I tell you, not all parents are on top of the kid homework. I help my nephew homework because I want to be there for him, but I don't really have to. But I know there's parents that don't even do that part.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I want to be specific, right? I don't want you to think like 4% every year. No, you take 1 year that you're good, right? Like, how many students you get on average?
I mean, every year I had like 20 kids.
Okay, like 20 kids.
Still
Imagine like half of those students, they become successful. They're like, making like 100K. Let's just say, for example. And they all give out like 4% to their teachers. Once, just once. The teacher will appreciate that. It will become better, and and now every teacher's gonna be motivated to want to teach their students more. It's a great thought.
No, it is.
You know what I mean? Like, as far as taking it into action is something else, but it is a great thought. And, you know, like, hey, man, if somebody wants to, like, you know, endorse that and, you know, like, hey, I'll help out, man. I am preaching what I'm talking about. So pretty soon y'all see what I got in store.
But we do agree that teachers are underpaid, though. There is more respect, though. So.
Yeah, and especially, like, when you think about, you know, public schools and the areas that we come in, compared to like private schools. I mean, I've worked in a private school myself, and it's night and day, the level of support and the number of resources that teachers get. That a lot of teachers in private schools, including the one where I worked at, they're there for like 10, 15, 20 years.
Wow.
But there's a lot of high teacher turnover in the public schools, in the public school system, because they're overworked, underfunded, underappreciated, and a simple thank you like goes a long way too, you know, from families, from teachers. So
no, I do believe they're underfunded. Maybe I shouldn't say. I remember when I was in 7th grade. I was in a school that was real underfunded. I remember my teacher was complaining because she was tough, like crazy. Like she was like the strictest. She was tough, but she was good because that's the only teacher I remember of my lifetime. So I guess it did work. Because to be honest, because I was talking with one of my close friends who had the same teacher. He used to say that she was like the worst because she was strict. But we said she was like that because we was devils. Yo, we were bad ass kids.
Like I said, I don't know how these teachers, bro.
That's why I got so much respect for teachers. But the point is, I remember I was in 7th grade. We all got math book, but they were all like red. And she left the class crying because at that time I didn't understand why. But I now understand she was crying because she felt like she wasn't getting support to teach the best for the student. I was too young at that age to understand that. But now that you're saying that, I started to think about that moment, and she was crying because, not crying, but she got tears because she not getting the support that she needed to teach our community. That's the worst part. It's our own community. We're not helping each other. And that's one of the reasons we're going to have knowledge. It's incredible. So it makes sense when you think about it was a private school, like you said. Most private school get support because, of course, they can't pay for the month for the parents. So maybe your system might work, but came only for the parent.
I'm telling you, man. I know it sounds radical. I know you're like, nah, I ain't, you know, like they probably prefer spending on a party or something. But you know what I mean? Like it makes sense. It's on us. It's on us to try to change the community. All right. So let's get past what you did in the past. Let's talk about, you know, what you want to do in the future, right?
Okay.
So, like, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
So, So 5 years from now, I feel like that question kind of changes a little bit, but like the whole, my vision for the future is having finished my master's. Ultimately, I do want to work at a public school because I feel like for me that's what success. People define success in different ways. I think for me, my success would be being able to help my community thrive through education and empower them through education. So I do want to work as a school-based speech language therapist, primarily with communities like our own. I would ultimately like to open up my own private practice that caters to communities like our own, that kind of redefines the field of speech and language therapy, because a lot of like what we do now is focused on this like white supremacist model of how to, correct speech and like what kind of speech is corrected. People with accents, people from different, from a lower socioeconomic background, and like all of that what was happening in the past is still happening in our assessment and intervention practices, like in speech and language therapy. So I kind of want to create my own practice where we find different ways to redefine, how to best, support different aspects of communication for people from where we come from, or kids from where we come from.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. What about 10 years from now?
10 years from now, eventually I want to have a house, of course. I do want to write children's books with characters that look just like us, so that, you know, kids from where we come from can see themselves in a positive light. And, you know, just, you know, celebrating joy and seeing themselves, you know, just, I guess, redefining the stereotypes that are imposed on us.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's how we limit ourselves too with the stereotype. We don't even notice our own community limit our own self because of the stereotype. And with that, you think about writing a book for kids, and so we could learn at a young age that we could do more than what we see in our neighborhood.
Exactly.
Hey, man, and when you do that, you could bring it to us. We'll help you endorse. All right.
Thank you.
No, we definitely will. Yeah, no, we definitely will, because that's a part. That's one thing we want to do with this podcast: give knowledge and power to our community.
Yeah.
Hey, I love what you're doing right now.
Thank you.
And what you want to do with the future. You'll be surprised. There's so many people that don't know what they're gonna do, even in a year.
Yep. You have an advantage there, that you at least you know what you're striving for. So that when you're working at it, it just becomes easier.
Yeah.
Because you're what you want is bigger than the work that you're doing for it. Right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So do you have like any mentors, anybody you emulate, follow, you know, like anybody that motivates you to do what it is that you want to do, or, you know?
So right now I have a professor that I'm working very closely with, and she's my first Dominican professor. Came to the United States at age 17, has her doctorate in the field of speech and language therapy, and she's all about, again, redefining the field. So I'm actually working with her on a couple of projects.
Amazing.
It is amazing.
Which I'm very happy about. Like, one of the projects that we're working on is creating a guide for teachers on the critical analysis of children's books. So looking at books, and a lot of times, you know, different ideologies that we have about, you know, a language and ability, we promote like in the books and the things that, you know, we ultimately consume.
Yes.
And so it's a guide to help teachers kind of like look at those types of ideologies and ways of thinking that are from a deficit lens, that when, you know, we read them to our kids, they internalize those like negative ideas, and that's how they think about that's how they view themselves. So kind of trying to have the guide so that teachers can think critically about the books that they use to teach their kids, so they can maybe like choose other books or try to like, you know, spin the message that the book is trying to promote as a way to promote a more positive sense of identity, sense of self in young kids.
That's powerful.
That is real powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can't wait for that book in 10 years.
I'll let y'all know.
We'll be here.
Or before that. It'll also be 10 years, but I can't wait.
10 years, 20. I mean, the faster the merrier.
It could be 5.
Yeah. No, it could definitely be 5. My man trying to retire earlier.
No, I do want to retire early if it's possible, but I'm still going to be, even when you retire, I still work. So,
yeah, no. It is. All right. You have any hobbies?
Any hobbies? Yeah. It depends on what my mood is. Like, I consider myself an introvert, so I need to be by myself to gain energy. Okay. So sometimes my body asks me or wants me to like go on a run. So I like to run. That's one of my hobbies. I like to write poetry as well.
Nice. I like writing. That's nice.
Yeah, it's a good outlet for me. I like to write spoken word poetry. And then if I'm, you know, I have enough energy and I want to, you know, be social, I like to go out and dance, even though I have to get back on that because I have not been dancing.
You slacking.
I'm slacking.
Nah, that's cool. That's pretty cool. Anything else that you want for yourself? Like anything else? Like after you did all your accolades, you know, you basically got your book, you know, anything that you want to settle on, you know, like in the future, you know, maybe like 20 years from now.
I just want to, you know, like peace has no price. So I'm really I just want to be at peace with the decisions that I make and the life that I live and the people that I try to help and influence in different ways. So as long as I'm in a position where I am able to be my most authentic self and surround myself with people who are also being their most authentic selves and are, ambitious and thriving, and I can learn from and we can learn from each other, I think that's like, I'll be happy.
That's an awesome answer right there.
No, that's great. I mean,
Yeah, man.
you're just giving up knowledge and power like we trying to do. So
Yeah, nah, man. Yeah,
you gotta have the vibe because, like he said,
yeah.
the opposite says it's not just about money; it's in the mindset. You gotta be able to go do something else and have fun with life too.
Yeah.
Definitely got to keep in touch, So
Definitely,
we have common interest as
Yeah.
far as the mindset.
Yeah.
So so awesome, man. Anything else you wanna?
No, I guess one thing I want to say, I would like to have you on another episode because I feel like we could talk about way more. And and too bad we gonna have enough time right now. That's the only thing.
No, definitely.
But so, you want one last thing before we end the show? Or?
Just live your truth and just live authentically, everyone, as best as possible.
Perfect. Thank you. And for all our listeners, if you like what you're listening to, remember to let your people know and follow us at Level Up Success Podcast at popbeat.com. And we everywhere. You could tell your friend, if they listen to Spotify, tell them we there. iHeartRadio, you could tell them we here. Apple Podcast, just any music platform. Just let them know we there.
I didn't even know Google had one too, man. The Google Podcast, we there too.
And Samsung.
Right.
I don't know if you know Samsung Podcast.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Yes.
Yo, everybody got everybody's streaming on this.
Yeah, everybody's streaming. It's getting well known. So hopefully, if you like what we're doing, let your friend know and take care.
All right, guys. So this is the Level Up Success Podcast. I wanna desire everybody a great day and deuces.
Deuces, peace.
All right, goodbye, guys.
Bye.
All right.